Now, Gaming Commission of Ghana, under its supervisory mandate drawn from Section 3(2)(g) of the Gaming Act 2006, Act 721 has developed guidelines on advertising for operators of games of chance. The purpose of these guidelines, is to ensure that advertisements by operators are conducted in a responsible manner, devoid of promises of any predetermined outcomes, appeals, enticements to gamble to the vulnerable in society, as well as minimize exposure to minors where applicable. Now, this document will act as a guide to operators in all the advertising or advertisement scope. The document covers all forms of advertisements by operators, including print and electronics. I beg your pardon. Now, general guidelines. 1. Advertisements must be vetted and approved by the Commission, and the operators must be in good standing. 2. Advertisements must acknowledge the Gaming Commission of Ghana as the regulator. 3. Approval of the running of the advertisement should be valid for the duration of the permit. The Commission has the right to revoke the advertising permit if A, it contains inaccurate information. B, if it contains misleading information. C, if it fails to acknowledge the Gaming Commission as the regulator. D, changes are made to the advertisement without notification to the Commission. E, if it negatively affects public interest and sensibilities. F, if it does not depict responsible gaming and appeals to minors. G, if in any other circumstance that the Commission deems as inappropriate. Now, it must not be misleading and all claims must be substantiated. So 1, 2, 3, okay, 4. 5, must be devoid of inappropriate content against competitors. 6, operators' advertisements should not create the impression to their customers of guaranteed outcomes or wins. 7, operators should not use celebrities in their advertisement. This is where the issue is. Ernest, I need your attention. Sadiq, I do. Yeah. Operators shall not use celebrities in their advertisements to entice the general public to gamble. That's 7. Number 8, the Commission, in protecting the interest of punters, customers, and stakeholders, mandates that advertisement must contain warnings like gamble responsibly, only 18 years, gambling is addictive, etc., and any other warnings that may be prescribed by the Commission. So, it is true that celebrities are not supposed to endorse these
the betting
companies. Okay, let me start with you, Sadiq.
Yeah, I mean, well, in every society, even brands and the market generally for every product or service is supposed to operate responsibly. And often the state takes the lead in enforcing that responsibility. And so just sometimes to protect consumers and the most especially minors and young people, the state may want to take the lead to begin to setting up some of these directives. You know, the Gaming Commission obviously, per the law that established them, has the mandate to regulate the gaming industry. I mean, including betting and gambling and all of that. And obviously also has a mandate by law to be able to issue out some of these directives. So yes, I mean, they may have done that also because of the fact that gambling is to a large extent seen as what you call a demerit good. A demerit good essentially is a good that that has a tendency to, I mean, elicit addiction and then influence a certain, disorder, so to say. I mean, tobacco, alcohol, and all of those. So often in a lot of countries, the states may take the lead to want to regulate it. However, for a lot of countries, in their bid to regulate and guide industry and get everybody to behave responsibly, just sometimes may overregulate. Where in my case, or in my opinion, where overregulate here means, yes, we all understand and agree that I mean, there has to be some regulation of a sort. There has to be a protection of certain targets, particularly young minors. I mean, especially, and also to ensure that people do not become overly addicted to it. So we all agree to it. However, in a lot of countries, there's been a back and forth on how to do it without impacting other industries like the arts. You know, as much as we consistently call for enabling of the arts from the state part and an active involvement and investment from the state part, we also need to recognize that the arts generally or primarily it's privately driven. Where privately driven here means that we require on providing a service and a platform for a lot of these brands for us to make money. So, i.e., sponsorship, advertising, and a whole lot of things that enables us to make money, more money to thrive. So, there's certain expectation that even if there's going to be a regulation of a sort to drive that responsibility, there will be a certain 360 thinking of how these things could impact other industries. Because, I mean, the basic line of it is that if we all understand that gaming and gambling is a demerit good, and most importantly could cause addiction and all of that, then we may as well not actually even start it in the first place. Because regardless of it, I mean, but once you found a way to start it and regulate it and drive certain elements of it, it means that you can always make a case for its connection with the other industries. I've seen in a lot of other countries as well. They're very careful for the associations for what they call the sportification of gaming and the gaming of sportification, where you see that the whole gambling has been connected to lifestyle concepts or products like sports, music videos, and all of that, just so they can put it in, they can institute it in your life as much as possible. You know, so they've been, and you know how music and how stars are very powerful. But in the other vein as well, these same celebrities could be leading the education campaign to prevent younger people. So if the idea is that you want to be able to amplify messages of if you are young, don't play, and also help some of these companies on their social impact activities where they go to schools, engage young people, and all of those things, they could do it. There's always a way around it. Because once we recognize that these celebrities or these stars have a certain power to influence, we should recognize that they do not only have the power to influence negatively, but they could also influence positively. So if the idea is that the younger people are easily moved by them, then it should tell you that these same people, as celebrities or as brand ambassadors of these brands, could also take a lead in influencing younger people positively in terms of if you are under 18, don't play. Don't get involved. But most importantly, it will come from the enforcement of these organizations. Because look, whether you like it, whether they endorse it or not, gaming by its nature is addictive already. It has that element, and it's in the communities, and the people are playing it, and all of that. So you will take the enforcement. You will take those mystery shopping kind of idea where the regulator will spend some time going around these establishments in the various areas and trying to understand if they are abiding by not allowing younger people even closer to that, below the age of 18, closer to the place. But if you are allowing them to establish it in the communities, and some of these communities lack control, it's been established in the communities close to the house of that minor. So if you're allowing that, the minor wakes up every day and sees it. He's got local role models. He's got house role models at home that are going to play it. He's seen the area boys who he admires and, what's it called, look up to playing it. The thing is close to his house, like a meter or so from his house. Sometimes even it's in their house because maybe the stores are in front of the house. You go to Nima and stuff like that. They go to Newtown. It's in the community. It's close to the kid. The kid sees the activities of it. So if you can allow that, obviously, because you're seeing that, let's allow it to go. You're making a lot more taxes. If you can consider the tax element and the revenue element to the state, why are you also not considering the revenue element to industries such as the arts? And so that has been the problem. But this is not to say that we all do not recognize that we should not be responsible. But of course, the same celebrities and the industry can take the lead in the educational drive. And most importantly, if you are considering the commercial element, right, and allowing them to operate in a particular way, even if you pretend to say you are regulating them, it should mean that you should also consider the revenue element to industry as well. Because if you take all of these things, government alone, government can sort of enable some few entrepreneurs in the space as a way of creating more wealth and creating more jobs, as a matter of policy. But government on its own cannot fund the entire industry. It will take the private sector. So a lot more pressure will come on the government if consistently, because now the alcoholic beverages, who are major sponsors or patronizes the arts, are gone. They are gone. The too much regulation, so Charlie, they won't worry, they are here. They will do the activations and go. They are gone. That revenue element has totally decreased. Then now there's betting. It's totally decreased. Then the telcos. I mean, the telcos are also complaining that the tax element of their business as well is making it difficult for them to pump more money into that. So as a space or as an industry, we don't have much to tend to. The banks in Ghana traditionally do not go with the arts. It takes some few out-of-the-box bank thinkers, like the way Stanchart has done, and to some extent, which other brand I would have mentioned? What?
I think Access
No,
Bank
so far
on Friday.
Stanchart.
I think Access Bank on Friday also did something with some of the stars.
Yeah, but that's
introducing
one off.
the
But
board.
I mean, Stanchart has been so far the boldest to really to try to engage music or leverage music or the arts to promote a particular service.
Right.
So that revenue, once it's gone, it leaves us with no safety net, but then to pile on the pressure to government, which cannot necessarily take the load of industry anymore. So
Right.
we need to find a way on these things.
Now, Ernest.
Yeah, Andy.
So if
You say that the PR is not picking up.
unfortunately she's not.
That person should pick up because we have a lot of questions to ask.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah,
I know,
because
right?
if you look at what we read,
There was a question I wanted
lot
to
of
ask. I don't want to
explanations
lose
they
it. So hold on to your thoughts. So Sadiq raised the concerns of public figures and endorsing and young or kids looking up to them that may influence them to be interested in.
That's
in
the principle behind that regulation.
regulation.
Yeah.
Good. Now they're also saying that it is being regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana, which they place emphasis or a lot of importance on the no 18 restriction. So what's the point? If there's that regulation that look, if you are not yet 18, you cannot even be within that confine or within that space, then why are they?
You can actually even draw out
Why are they
the
protected?
distance where you can be. So by that,
I was coming to that point. You see, you were talking about location. Do we have specific regulations that spells out where someone can
be or not?
establish such?
no, so far from the guidelines, no.
That is the first point. If you have a gaming center,
But we have to finish reading. For all you know,
No, it's there. I mean, we've read it enough. Just you can go through again. Take a look.
you
at
see,
it.
if
Start
we have a
from there.
gaming center that is close to a school and the kids on break have access to the place, that one is there. We will talk about the celebrities. You see, if you have a regulation that states that if you are below 18 years, you don't have to go there. You don't have to patronize their services. Do they have people who monitor to ensure that minors are not given the opportunity into those spaces? That is the first thing. Sadiq was saying something about celebrities instead of looking at one side of the coin.
wait, you just brought me up to speed to something. But they also have a website. People go on their website to bet.
No, that is a different.
No. I'm talking. No. What I'm saying is,
The
if
apps.
the apps. So if I don't have the opportunity to get in there, I can sit in the comfort of my home. Now, 16-year-old, 15-year-olds have
Have
phones.
phones.
So why can't they bet privately? They can bet on their phones.
I was.
Have you considered that one too?
I was going to that point because you see, this is a lazy way out. Yeah, that is why I said we have a lot of questions to ask. Now, who is a celebrity?
Someone.
Popular person.
A popular person.
Reasonably popular.
So, can a footballer endorse gaming?
Per the way they said it can't. In Ghana, you can't.
What if the person is a celebrity not in Ghana but outside Ghana?
That's the other side of it. They
We
don't
know
regulate that.
Nigerian brothers, some of their celebrities are ambassadors and all these kind
Even
of
the
things.
EPL
So,
teams.
so let's say if I go for a celebrity outside Ghana, would I be held culpable? You know, these are explanations that they should give.
You can't be held, particularly if you tell. So let's say that, like the Adonko example,
Yeah.
Adonko registered a business in Nigeria, supposedly regulated by the business by the regulator in Nigeria. So if the Nigerian business, a separate entity, does their own communications, which found its way in Ghana, how do you blame me for me? Because the local business in Ghana, I have abided by the rules.
So, in principle, what it means is, per what you are saying. That is why I wanted the PRO to come and explain. Per what you are saying, they can go out there. We know that the people like the Davidos, the Wizkids, and all these people, they have influence on our society.
That's all.
So you deny Shatawale the opportunity to take that money, then Davido will take that money. They will bring the same people here, and they will influence the very things that you are trying to prevent. To me, I think there are more answers than than questions, or more questions than answers, because at the end of the day, I see this as a bit holo. Yes, it's good. We need to protect our kids, but why can't we use the same celebrities as ambassadors, but rather to caution the kids against patronizing the services of these centers, instead of looking at it that, okay, if they endorse it, they will influence the kids, so bang, we stopped it. Why do we always look at the negative side of the coin instead of looking at the positive side as well? By ensuring that these people become ambassadors to educate the kids on what they can do and what they cannot do, and they will still get the money, and the industry will thrive. But rather a lazy way out, Brian. No celebrity should do this, Brian. No, so how do we fuel the industry? I'm not saying that because the industry should move, we should, engage or we should accept, quote and unquote, things that we see as negative. Things that has adverse impact on minors, the vulnerable children, and all these kind of things. But there is always a way out. We should think outside the box. If we can prevent celebrities because they have influence, why can't we use them positively to impact?
And then, in fact, other than that, if you are taking this direct revenue from them, and some of the revenue is coming to the gaming commission, right, in statutory payment, how come the gaming commission on its own is not actively taking a decision to fund some of these organizations as a way of using it to amplify the messages and the industries? So I know that the lottery commission's revenues will go to what they call the consolidated fund, which will also drive development. It's like it comes to the total resource pool for the country. But you can also, beyond the development, right, also single out certain industries who will be adversely affected by some of these decisions, to say, okay, well, as a state organization, every year we'll make a provision of X amount of money for industry, because you're taking it away from them. And so as an industry, and that's the more reason why it becomes so difficult to run creative art enterprises here, because the market is that's why it's so small. The total advertising budget annually a year is about 300 billion cedis, thereabout. And this marketing budget will be a tribute, radio station tribute, TV station air tribute, outdoor companies air tribute, BTL companies air tribute, the advertising companies itself that are in charge of the creatives air tribute. Then it comes to the events people air tribute, then talent to air tribute. So it's smaller, and that's the more reason why when talent, I keep telling a lot of, for instance, when talent charge event people a certain amount of money, I say, no, you are pricing yourself out of the market, because it doesn't connect to the size of the marketing pool. It will collapse. We cannot do that.
We'll stop using you.
Yeah. So can I continue?
But it's not their fault.
Can I continue? You see,
Please continue.
So they should tell us. They should give regulations as to who qualifies to open a gaming center and where can it be located, and give reasons to that. That is the first way out. They should convince us that they have a monitoring team that enforces that ensures that the laws are abided by or abided by the various operators. You just don't put it in the air just because you have the power, and at the end of the day, nobody can challenge you. Then creatives will end up, poor. And apart from that too, if you look at the time and how many months do we have to election? 2 months to election. Politically, it's unwise.
For who? For the government?
To come out with this regulation because
But this thing has been around.
No, but it's been there. But this is the time that they are pushing it. And politically, if you look at it, politically, you end up creating this satisfaction for government, which is not good. So yes, you can implement it because the law gives you the power to do that. But if you are to think about it very well, strategically, I think the timing is wrong. That is the first thing, because you end up, already some of the creatives are angry when the alcoholic ban came. So they are mending their wounds and all these things. Then you add up to it 2 months to election. Who advises them? I think it's wrong. Yes, you might have a good motive, but timing also plays a role. In communication, timing plays a role, because the timing determines the effect, and the effect might be good or bad. If you are to look at it right now, 2 months to election, the timing is wrong. I don't know why. I think that they should come out and explain why they decided to do it around this time, 2 months to election. And why didn't they look at the positive side of using the celebrities to educate the young ones on the dangers and all these things, and involving themselves in some of these things, instead of categorically, okay, we've banned you, so you cannot do it. For all you know, Adonko has done it. He's shown us the way. Instead of, okay, allowing myself to be frustrated by a regulator in Ghana, I go to Nigeria, free market. I get the big people. They have influence in Ghana. I use them from Nigeria. The rippling effect will come to Ghana, and I'll still achieve it. But you are starving the Ghanaian creatives at the expense of their people in Nigeria. They can have their leeway. At the end of the day, if Shatawale is to get money, if Stoneboy is to get money, if Sarkodie is to get money,
it goes to Gabriel Okocha. It goes to Davido.
It goes to the very people in the industry, so it stays. Instead of pushing,
because once you pay them
go outside,
taxes will also be deducted though.
Yeah, definitely.
They will pay tax.
So they will go outside knowing that if they do it there, the effect will definitely come to Ghana. They will get whatever they want to do. So I think we should think outside the box. We should be strategic. We shouldn't rush into doing it because we have the power. So okay, outrightly, bam, we've banned them from doing it. I think they should come for more answers. We have a lot of questions to ask them. Please, I know the PR is listening. I know once we told you we'll be calling you, I know definitely you will listen. You want to find out what we will say. That is what we are saying. We need you. We need you to answer questions. Because there are a lot of things we don't understand.
You have to ask questions.
Yeah.
And so you are reserving your questions till
why
we get
didn't you give locations? Who qualifies to open a center? And all these kind of things. Come and explain.
They give a location for the outdoor.
You need to convince us.
But the outdoor says that.
Ivy, welcome.
Thank you very much.
What's
Andy.
your take on it?
I believe that this thing they should rather be enforcing.
Sorry, Andy.
Yes.
It gives a location for the promotions, not the
location, not the sighting of the gaming centers.
Because I'm reading it right now.
It says stationary outdoor advertising shall not be placed within 200 meters of preschools, first and second.
I've read it and I'm
schools.
reading it all over again.
You know,
Okay, so if I decide to establish one close to a school, but I will not advertise there, what about that?
It means you have
this
you
one
are
it's
free.
in the community, so
Yeah.
If come out from your house, the thing is
Top of head awareness. Even if he's in the house sleeping, even if he's home sleeping, he will still be thinking of it, because from the top of his head he knows that it is there. And again, a very salient concern was raised. How about those who are home and won't even go to the game center and can do it on their phones? I believe that enforcing it will rather, bring the results, making sure that the kids don't go there, making sure there are some things, the rules and regulations are being abided to. Other than, telling the celebrities not to do it. You did it with alcohol. Has it given you the result you want? You even took away all the time, and they are now only playing it in the evening. Has it stopped people from taking it? Has it stopped kids from taking alcohol? It should rather be enforcement of the law. We watch EPL has huge. And it has huge influence on a lot of people in this country. Do they not advertise when they go for half times, when they go for breaks? Yes, they even wear the jersey, even the footballers outside. Like you were saying, so you rather pay people outside to advertise and have the same influence our celebrities could have on the kids here, and then they will take the money away. You are just stifling all the incomes that are coming to the creatives. And just imagine the replaying effect. If a Sarkodie, if a Stone Boy, if a Shatawale, if an episode should be having this, money's coming in. Just think of the rippling effect, the people who will also benefit. But immediately you cut this person from it, you're cutting all these other people from it. And you're giving it to someone elsewhere to still do the same work that is being done that could be done by our celebrities. I believe that the enforcement of these laws should rather be what they should be looking out for, not cutting the creatives off. Yeah.
Okay. Nathaniel Atto is a citizen. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
How are you?
I'm great.
Great to have you here on the show. You've been listening to the conversation.
Definitely.
Right. What's your take on it?
Well, thank you. Good morning to the listeners. Good morning to my brothers here in the studio. Listen, I've had several conversations, informally about this matter. And I think that on our side, and when I say our side, I'm talking about creatives, and people within, the industry. I mean, events industry. First question we need to ask ourselves is, do we have a recognized front? Lawyers? No, wait. Do we have a recognized front?
When you say,
yes, we do.
I don't understand.
Do we have a recognized front, which is registered with the Registrar General's Department?
Oh. Yes, we do.
Okay. Now, if we have a recognized front which is active and is registered duly with the Registrar General's Department, then we should start channeling these misgivings and all of these through through that association. Yeah. You understand me? Because that is the only way that we can get something across and have effective advocacy. Conversations such as these are very, very important because we're raising awareness and we're calling the attention of the industry to the fact that something is just not right about the way the law is structured. Because you raised a very important point that somebody is sitting here and has access to all the information on their phones. So what prevents them? And then secondly, what monitoring mechanism is the Gaming Commission putting in place to ensure that people who enter these centers or people who go and patronize their services are really 18 years of age?
No
Look,
ID.
there is a gaming center about 600 meters from my home. Okay? 600 meters from my home. And it will interest you to note that on days when there are games, there are boys from what? You could see some who look as young as 14. And who is monitoring them?
And they go there.
They patronize the place.
They patronize it. Look, I got hold of some research. Unfortunately, I don't have that document here. But I was having a conversation with a practitioner in the gaming industry, a foreigner, who was telling me that the research that even encouraged them to come into the industry and also to invest in the industry is that all over the world, boys or males between the ages of 15 and 55 are actively involved in betting. 15. So the commission has even bigger work to do regarding how they are going to ensure compliance. Look, we can subject this to very, very simple technical analysis or scientific analysis. Okay? We can just do some very simple random sampling. The 1, 2, 3, 4, the four of us. Let's just say, in this whole catchment area of Kokomlimle, let's just decide to go there on Saturday when hopefully Pate has his debut, in the Arsenal game against Manchester City. Go and see the gaming centers and look at the faces of these boys and tell me if these are 18 plus. No, that is not the case. So there are even bigger problems to deal with. You understand me? I am also looking at. One of us mentioned, the bit about getting these people with numbers or these celebrities or these public figures to rather craft the communication in a certain way. You understand me? Look, I was the face and host of the Guinness Football Challenge for 3 seasons.
Yes, I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember.
When and as part of the communication, because you see, the Diageo Group, which owns Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited, is very, very responsible and has a marketing code. Now, for the whole period that I was on, I was engaged as a host and face for the Billboard campaign, and and the whole television gaming show.
what this cow?
Amen. Amen.
Say amen.
For that whole period, I was barred from taking part in any activity that involved manners. Which is so. For instance, I'm the pioneering announcer for Spelling Bee Ghana. For those 3 years, I had to go off Spelling Bee Ghana. You understand me? So I think that this is more of something we need to all sit around the table and discuss, rather than pick the laws and place them. And you see, the reason why I'm mentioning the organized groups and the organized associations is that they have a stronger voice, and legally they are more recognized and may have bigger weight. So we have to start pressing through the association, and it is through the association that we can get
like Musica,
exactly.
Like Architects Guild.
Yes, so you press and push.
Otherwise,
all these brilliant points
members of these organizations.
Yes, otherwise all these brilliant points that Obidumbia is laying on the table will just be, we'll just be making salient points. We'll just be making very important points. But
won't cross any boundary.
Yes.
Like here, this is the place. Here starts the conversation starts here, obviously, and then it could go on and on and on. But of course, I mean, beyond this, it will take the people that are affected by this enough to take the lead. I mean, Musica, MPAG, Actors Guild, all of these.
Yeah, very important. And
ordinarily, it could be Creative Arts Council. Well, if they are
interested.
If they had a legal mandate to represent them, as it stands now, they don't. But if they have, maybe they could pick it up from the state side and lead the conversation, because they are also a quasi-state organization. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're right. It's you cannot pretend to be regulating when you look at the low-hanging fruit and say ban this, when in actual fact, what you're seeking to prevent, you've allowed for the businesses to be established in the communities. Which is direct, like this is direct
monitoring.
Yeah, this is direct to the child
mechanisms.
And so yes, and then with that, if you don't institute, I don't want to assume that they are not regulating them. But then again, myself and a number of people have seen younger people go to these organizations.
If they're regulating, you wouldn't see all these.
So maybe they will come into
the essence of regulation and monitoring. Yeah. If you regulate, and at the end of the day, the very thing you are fighting against,
it's happening.
Keeps happening.
So for me, I think that it should be looked at different. It should look at from the different side. One, we shouldn't think that celebrities always have only have the opportunity to influence negatively when they can also influence positively. So they could be leading in amplification of some of these messages or narratives. And the most important,
don't get kids there if you are not under 18. But why
would they?
No, wait. It's just like when you travel and you go to a club, and all they request for is ID cards.
Yeah.
So why don't they implement that here as well? I mean, you get to a gaming commission. You get to a betting center, a gaming center, and then they ask you where your ID card is. You provide it.
Yes.
So they look at it. You are 18.
Before they allow you to.
Even if you are 18 and you don't have it, you can't enter.
Understandably, you can have rogue organizations. Of course, market forces is looking for the numbers. Once you show up with the money, if you are 14, you allow you. But this is where effective monitoring comes in. Effective monitoring come in, where you can threaten to withdraw their licenses. But looking at it in a way
of course,
that
it's stated
also,
in there.
Yeah, and for me, if you really want to, if you insist that this is the way you want to go, recognize that you are taking a certain one revenue line from a particular industry that will be adversely affected by it. Because if you look at this 300 million annual marketing budget I'm talking to you about, that is available for industry, part of it will come from these betting companies. And so by instituting some of these things, you're taking a certain revenue. Now, why would the Gaming Commission, I mean, beyond the revenue that will come to them and go into maybe the consolidated fund or the country's total resource envelope, right? Why would they not also make a decision to say, once some of these decisions adversely affects this particular industry, a certain percentage can go into, like, let's say, the Creative Arts Fund, for instance, or some of these funds. So it becomes the sources of maybe the National Film Authority Fund and stuff like that, because you are taking away from them. So there has to be a way that this money can come back to them to create more wealth and cushion them. So that's the point then. But if you look at it from a very drastic, we are all sitting here, understand that everybody should operate responsibly. We agree to that. The point is how do we go about it without the almost every time the lazy approach every time is ban these people because this country has done it. But your story is not peculiar to this particular country. Whereas maybe when you go to a particular look, the amount of state investment in the arts in say Nigeria, for instance, is triple more than Ghana. But beyond that, they are approaching some of these things carefully as well. And that is why NS is saying in that if I'm Betway, and Betway is a global brand, they're also in Nigeria and other countries. If they float Nigeria, the Nigerian business is independent of the Ghanaian business. So you, the regulator here, do not regulate the Nigerian business. So the Nigerian business can do whatever they want within the confines of their law there, and the information could get into here. What do you do to the
because the platforms are available. I mean, the digital platforms are available. We're always monitoring.
We watch the EPLs. And you look on the boards of the EPL, the betting companies. Yes. This thing is there. The jerseys have the betting companies on them, and your top star, your top footballing star,
Pate is wearing it.
Is wearing it.
Yeah.
No, but now let me get back to you, Nat. Let me get back to you, Nat. If we are to get the PRO on the line right now, or if you are to meet her, what is that one thing you may want to ask?
Fortunately, she doesn't have the power anyway.
Well, no, I mean, yes, the PRO is like the how do we call it?
She can carry it.
The info, yes.
That is the lawmakers. The law and the mandate was given to them by an act.
Very well. That is fine. Yeah. What you see? What I'm what's bugging my mind all the time is there is a problem, right? And that social problem is the addiction, the gradual waywardness of our young people and our juveniles as a result of indulging in gaming. That is the problem, right? What is the source of the problem?
Right.
And have you, in pushing for this law to be passed, considered the source? It's just like fire. When fire is, go to the firefighters and they tell you that when they go in or they go to a place where there's a blaze, the first port of call is the source of the fire. You start attacking from the source of the fire. So, have you identified the real source of this problem? What scientific methods have been employed in arriving at identifying this? Because you see, we also live in a society where we have thrown research to the background, and this is happening in many sectors. Research is at the basis and at the heart of development. And we have always neglected research. Because you see, what do? We go to South Africa, for instance, where there is no existence of such a law. So, for instance, sometime last year, I covered an event for, a beverage brand, an alcoholic beverage brand, and Samuel Eto'o was the ambassador, gladly. You understand? And so you do a study on that market, for instance. Invest in it. Because you see, when you invest in research, the research comes and helps whatever agenda you want to push or wherever you want to get. It is at the basis of everything we want to do. It's like putting up a building. So get proper research, get the figures, and look at the effect of betting on the populace. You look at the demographics, those people be from 15 and below or 18 and below. What kind of effect is the exposure to betting having? Okay? And in these places where it is open for public figures and celebrities to advertise or to become brand ambassadors, what kind of effect is it having on the public? We need to do the proper research.
So what if research shows that, yes, it's pumping in a lot of money and the state is benefiting?
Well, so then we need to come and sit down and have another conversation.
No, but it's because of the states. And it's because of the benefit of the state. That's why.
Because you can't tell me.
Sadiq,
you can't tell me they are not making any money.
And Sadiq has raised a very important point. Look, we always talk about tobacco and we always talk about alcohol. We talk about all of it. And betting is a very high-grossing industry. Very high-grossing industry. Unfortunately, and listeners will have to forgive us, we do not immediately have the figures as to how much that industry is generating within our economy. Now, the second thing you also need to ask yourself is how many indigenous companies or how many indigenous Ghanaian companies are players in this industry. Because there's a thing there's a bit about repatriation of profits and all of that. You understand me? How many indigenous Ghanaian companies, so that we're also talking about retention of revenue and all of that, so that it eventually helps our system. So then if you know that this is a high grossing industry, then tax it heavily. Look at we've been talking about Pate the last week. Pate is earning £250,000 a week.
The money, a lot of the money
you take home about 100 because there is heavy taxation. So slap the taxes on there and let's put it into other industries so that they can grow.
But understandably, their taxes as well is, it's still high.
That's why I'm saying that unfortunately, I do not boast of having exact figures, and that's why I've apologized to listeners, because we also need that inputting across this conversation.
Regardless, the statutory payment to the state will still be high anyway, and I'm sure that it's in regardless of the fact that it's a demerit good, it's in consideration of the revenues that is coming from the state that they will probably allow it and say, okay, we'll regulate it. Yeah. But in regulation, you also need to be very careful that it doesn't impact certain other industries. It's in the chain. Certain industries, particularly the arts, heavy chain that will be adversely affected by this particular, because they need to advertise, and they just did an LPM on the morning show, for instance. Here,
don't bring it up.
They'll do. Oh no,
I don't want to lose my.
I'm just making an example.
Oh,
they'll play the commercials. They will sponsor the events. They would do the product placement in the movies. They will do all this.
So it's like a chain.
So it's a chain of money that will come.
Of course, the production houses will also have work to do because they'll produce these ads and all.
But that is why we need the PR. We need to find out.
You just want. No, that's what.
Enes is very concerned about.
You know what the PR will do.
Enes, why you vex like that?
He has a lot of unanswered questions.
Because you see, we need to understand it so that we know we have a problem, so that we can solve it. Did they do any consultation with stakeholders before they came out with all these regulations and all these things?
They tell you
shouldn't look as if because you have the power, you want to bully your way out. No.
But why is it always, Andy? Why is it always the creatives?
Because they'll tell you that another country. So you see, often when they come, these technical people, sometimes the gaming commission people, they are technical people. They work within this particular space regulation, and they have attended conference here and there and everything. Often you would find 1, 2, or 3 examples of how a particular country has done it. So when you come, sometimes they feel like, okay, we need to do it in the ways this country have done it because their case study is good. So maybe you look at peculiarities. I'm coming. So you look at peculiarity and say, okay, well, maybe because India has peculiarity with Ghana, Kenya has peculiarity with Ghana, and they took that particular lead, we need to. Without probably not looking at it from the fact that England have done it, but there's a way they've done it in the ways that it doesn't affect industry, and there's still the revenue lines for industry is still maintained. So how about looking at that as well?
Well, let me read some of the comments. Well, plenty of them. Francois says, Andy, please, how about those who register online? On which criteria are the Gaming Commission going to use to detect the underage? Well, I think you do that with a well-recognized or a valid ID card, right? I think it's done with a valid ID that shows you are 18. Ruti Kushmatic says, well, they should simply regulate the 18 and above law. For instance, putting things in place on the betting app so you have to approve you are old enough by our voters ID scan barcode, since the card is for only 18 and above, and put checks at the shops as well. Kwame Song says, Andy, at first that we used to have only one betting center, Superbet. You can't enter without an ID because there's a bouncer to sack you even if you are 18 without an ID. But these days the industry has been flooded that you don't even see a bouncer to check it. Well, Kuli Machanta says these kids don't even go to the center, they do it on their phones. Oji Wangana says, Andy, talking about gaming here, my little 13-year-old brother has been betting, winning bets. He saves the money be given to him, food to bet, and he sometimes win because he knows much about football. So how can we even stop the gaming companies? Pandera7 says, the best way to go about this on phone is simple. You need Momo number to put money into an account, so Though this process, you can block all Momo accounts below age. Most of the kids who go to the bet stations go to watch the match, but not to bet. Her collection says, great show with Andy Dusty. Have they considered the gaming center around the various schools and in the communities? We don't really look at celebrities nowadays, but we follow some of the brothers or someone who is before us, what he does, and we copy the person blindly. Zachariah Adams Abdul Amin says, Daddy, Kumi is making some relevant points. Because some of these gaming centers are very close to our primary schools and the kids will be exposed to them. They should consider that one, two, and forget about the celebrity issues all the time. Mamsi_G says, Andy, I just feel that Gaming Commission is making laws for their own selfish interests. The truth is, it's not the celebrities who are encouraging the young ones. There is a betting center close to my house. So who can prevent me from going there? Big question. Who can prevent you from going there? Now and there.
There's a parental element of it as well.
Now, Syntax 521 says, and in the UK, you are required to provide a national ID before your app or online betting account is approved. Why can't same be implemented here? This celebrity ban doesn't address anything. And also,
Yeah.
Bless_Kaba says, go on in Brandy. This whole celebrity and betting thing is not. Oh, do they know when we started betting? If you don't have money, no matter how a celebrity makes a betting attractive, you still can't bet. They for no make we start our own hashtag.
Digital generation. Hashtags in it. Well, anyways, it's always a start.
Chris Piquet said, this is the hard truth. The same defense put out by the FDA for alcohol advertisement is what the Gaming Commission will fall on. All the under 18 rules and whatnot will fall on deaf ears. We must have scaled the convo to higher quarters, else we will all lose. I am very critical, Sandy. This is just like cigarettes. No celebrity should advertise it. So it's a good thing that no celebrity should also advertise it. Simple. Yeah. Because what you say right now, I'm doing it on my phone and I haven't even touched my monthly pay. I'm enjoying bet money.
This is Hitz.
Enjoy.